Mariners lose 5-2. They fall to 4-7 on the season, and they lose the first of the 3-game series with the Blue Jays. Go over the scoring plays. Second inning, Alejandro Kirk singles home Justin Turner. That makes it 1-0. Third inning, David Schneider singles home a couple of runners, Bo Bichette and Vladdy Jr. They mentioned the throwing error by Julio, but had nothing to do with the scoring plays, but whatever. It was a bad throw. 3-0 at the end of the third inning. Fourth inning, Vladdy Jr. doubles home Kevin Kiermaier. That makes it 4-0. Mariners get on the board in the eighth with a J.P. Crawford solo homer, 4-1. But the Blue Jays answer right back with a run of their own. Connor Falefa singles home Dalton Varsho, 5-1. And then Cal Raleigh, who just, man, if I'm Cal Raleigh, if I don't want to stay with the Seattle Mariners, maybe I'm signing with the Toronto Blue Jays because, except you don't get to play against the Blue Jays. Anyway, he hits his first homer of the season, 5-2. First things first, I want to apologize for how late this one is. I'm recording at 2 minutes to 11, which is like 14 hours, 13 hours after the game ended. I was exhausted. I work a late shift on Monday. It's always busy on Monday because there's a lot of transactions and yeah, I was tired. We'll probably have a few more of these ones on Mondays or Tuesday, I guess. But sorry. Appreciate everybody who's coming out. Appreciate everybody who hits like. Appreciate everybody who hits subscribe. Also, we will be going live on Tuesday, right after the game. Promise. Don't have anything else going on. All right, let's talk about some positives. There's a few. Good for Ty France. Congratulations on the new one. And then to come back and get 3 for 4 hits for your baby. Awesome. That's awesome. And he's hitting 379, 419, 414. I wish he was driving the baseball a little bit. The hits are falling. We're certainly not going to complain about that. Big dumper, of course, with that homer. Like I said, he just kills the Blue Jays. He kills a lot of teams, but the Blue Jays in particular, Big dumper likes playing up north. Don Kid Zone hit a couple of balls hard and got a double. I was going to mention J.P. Crawford in the negative section, and I was not planning on. I certainly wasn't looking forward to it, but because he was having a really rough game and has had a really rough season, but then he makes a very nice diving catch and then swats a home run out. I think he needed that. Any other offensive positives? No. On the pitching side, Tyson Miller did a very nice job. 2 innings of scoreless baseball. He and Brett DeGeus, I think that's how you say it. If it's not, I just haven't had any, haven't had a whole lot of time. I didn't know he was in the organization. Flat out did not know he was in the organization. I remember him on the Diamondbacks in 2021, but couldn't tell you anything about him. That's okay. But they're both up because of injuries to Colin Snyder and to Cody Bolton. Cody Bolton has kidney stones. I hope those go away for him real quick. Colin Snyder, of course, got, for lack of a better term, Charlie Brown with a ball that hit him right in the knee and saw him collapse. Anyway, Brett did not look good, but Tyson did. Tyson Miller did a very nice job. This is a former, not top prospect, but an intriguing one, like potential mid-rotation starter type of guy when he was coming up. Not that anymore. He's just really a long relief type guy, but he did a nice job. He ate some innings that this bullpen needs. It's kind of sad that the bullpen needs it, but yeah. Before we get into the negatives, one more a positive, of course, is Simply Seattle, the very best in Seattle sports gear. Awesome stuff for the Mariners, Seahawks, Kraken, Huskies, Storms, Sounders. You can find it all at Simply Seattle. Once you find all your goodies, you're ready to check out. You enter code MOLLYWOP15 to save 15% off your order. MOLLYWHOP15. Thank you so much to Simply Seattle. Link in the description. All right, the negatives. I mean, look, Luis Castillo's got to be better. There have been flashes of good, in all three of these starts, and that includes Mondays. He's getting strikes. He's getting swing and misses. He's missing bats at an okay level, but there's just too much of the plate. He's catching too much of the plate. In particular, we talk a lot about the changeup being the big pitch for him. I haven't seen a lot of elite sliders from Luis Castillo in these first few games. It doesn't look like he has a great feel for that pitch right now. It doesn't really look like he has a great feel for anything. You know, none of these starts have been good enough. None of these starts have been objective disasters either. But he's your ace, or he's supposed to be anyway, right? He hasn't pitched like it. He's got to be better. And this one, we can't blame the defense for either. Like, the start against Cleveland for sure, and of course the start against Boston, which was just a absolute dumpster fire. Those, you can blame the defense a little bit. You're not blaming the defense for this one. Luis Castillo has to be better. I'm encouraged that he's still getting strikeouts even while the results aren't great, and he's throwing strikes. He might be throwing too many strikes. He might need to start being a little more, I don't know what the right term for this is without saying effectively wild, but I'm just going to say it. Effectively wild. Maybe start nibbling a little more. Don't go full on Gilmesh. Never go full Gilmesh. But actually, Gilmesh had some really good years. But he's got to be a little bit more. He can't catch this much of the plate. He cannot catch this much of the plate. They're relying on this starting pitching so flippin' much. So they can't have starts like this. And that's 3 of them now for Castillo. Now, this one was objectively worse than the other 2. Still, the results are the results. And again, didn't really matter how well Castillo pitched because this lineup was, outside of the guys I mentioned, dookie. Now, Julio goes 0 for 4. His expected batting average on a couple of balls hit was well above 600. Some bad luck there. But the results are the results, and they weren't good enough. Jorge Polanco draws a couple of walks, but I wouldn't call this one of his finer days. Mitch Haniger had a really bad game after I said nice things about him on the radio. Mitch Garver had a really bad game when I didn't say anything about him on the radio. Josh Rojas made some really nice defensive plays, but the offense was not there. He was kind of due for a game like this. Still hitting 333, but today wasn't good enough. And if I'm just being completely honest with you, I'm annoyed by the theme of this. And I talked about this on Molly Watt Monday. I'm just not having fun watching this team right now. It's not a fun experience. And I don't know if that's expectations. It's not really for me. I predicted the team to finish 3rd. I predicted them to make the playoffs. But I projected them to finish 3rd with a record around 84 to 88 wins. So it's not like I was expecting this team or am expecting this team to win 100 games and go to the World Series. It's what I want, but it's not what I expect. There's too many flaws in the roster. Now, there's too many significantly strong building blocks as well for me to think that this is a team that's going to win 35% of their games as well. That's not going to happen. They're not a team that is this bad. And again, you can mention that it's only 11 games. You can mention how much baseball there is to be played. You can tell me how much more fun I'm going to have watching this team when it starts playing better. All of that true. All of that fairly obvious, but all of that true. It doesn't take away that these first week and a half, a little more, been just, it hasn't been boring. Well, it's been a little boring at times. It's been unpleasant. It has been an unpleasant experience watching this team. I didn't expect that. There's so many likable players on this team, and still are, but it hasn't translated into enjoyment. And I'm really curious if I'm alone in this. If I'm the only one who just because I've watched Mariner games, where they've Lord knows how many Mariner teams I've watched that haven't been good, early or not. But I've still found a way to get some enjoyment out of it. And I know I will get enjoyment out of this team. But this first week and a half has been kind of brutal. Not kind of brutal, brutal. Some of it I wonder, the fact that I'm still, dealing with stuff. But I'll tell you this, this watching this team has not been an escape for me. That's disappointing. That's disappointing. I'll tell you what has been an escape for me though is recording these videos. The catharsis is it's hard to explain. Impossible to explain. I get such a kick out of recording these and getting to see your comments and all of that good stuff. That's been great. Thank goodness for this channel. Because for 2.5 to 3 hours, I just haven't had a good time. And I think I know that'll change. But I am really curious if I'm alone, not in being disappointed in this team, in just the overall bummer of an experience 2024 has been so far. George Kirby against, let's see, real time, no edit button, taking a look. George Kirby against Chris Bassett. Advantage Mariners, but Bassett's not bad. Kikuchi on Wednesday. Nice. Please hit like and subscribe. Please tell your friends. Please tell your loved ones. Please tell your enemies. All the clicks count. I want to start having fun again. And I'm hoping that starts today. I'm thinking it does.